A five-star American club recommendation can cost hundreds more in Australia, then launch too high when coastal wind meets firm fairways. American advice is usually sound and optimized for different prices, climates, and course styles. These 10 filters help Australian golfers keep the useful principle and avoid costly mismatches, starting with the price tag. A club called a bargain at 400 United States dollars can land in Australia with exchange rates, freight, import costs, goods and services tax, distributor margins, and the higher costs of serving a smaller market. Judge it using the actual Australian street price. Ignore simple currency conversions and American review scores. Include what the retailer provides: a proper fitting, local warranty support, and realistic resale value. A slightly dearer model may be the better buy if it fits correctly and has dependable backup. Local value is the only verdict that matters. Once the price survives that test, ask whether you can actually get the product here. The exact model praised in a United States review may never reach an Australian fitting bay. Retailer exclusives, unusual lofts, premium shafts, and left-handed combinations are often unavailable or special order only. That creates a practical problem. You cannot properly compare a club you cannot test, and an imported model may be harder to adjust, service, or replace if something breaks. Excellent launch monitor numbers overseas do not remove those compromises. Ask local fitters for the closest supported equivalent with the same performance traits, such as launch, spin, forgiveness, and shot shape. The badge matters less than getting a club you can test and own confidently. Next, we need to examine how that testing is done. Driver that wins a United States test on carry distance may not be the longest club on an Australian course. Those rankings often reward controlled, repeatable flight on softer fairways, where the ball lands and stops quickly. On firm Australian turf, landing behavior changes the result. Launch angle, spin, descent angle, and shot shape determine whether a drive releases another 20 meters, checks immediately, or runs into trouble. During a fitting, compare both carry and total distance using conditions that resemble your usual course. Watch dispersion too, because extra rollout is worthless if it brings bunkers or rough into play. That same ground interaction matters well beyond the tee. Firm turf changes more than distance. It changes which shots are playable. A high carry approach designed for receptive American greens can pitch pin high and release through the back in Australia. The smarter target may be the front edge, using bounce and rollout to feed the ball toward the hole. Tight fairway lies also reveal whether your strike and low point control are reliable. Unsuitable sole design or bounce can make the club dig, skip into the ball, or produce thin contact. When the green demands height and spin, choose enough loft to stop the shot without sacrificing unnecessary distance. Turf is a core fitting variable, and no club reacts to it more dramatically than the wedge. Bounce is not a simple choice between high and low. On soft sand or wet turf, extra bounce and a wider sole can stop a steep swing from digging. On tight, sun-baked lies, excessive effective bounce may raise the leading edge and make clean contact awkward. Low bounce sits neatly on hardpan, but steep delivery can drive it into the ground, while fluffy bunkers provide less margin for error. Test wedges where you actually play. Compare sole width, grind, and bounce from local fairway grass and bunker sand using your normal technique. A tour setup only works when its conditions match yours. Even the right sole must handle the Australian factor that affects every club. On exposed Australian courses, calm launch monitor winners can become liabilities. A high-spinning driver or towering iron shot gives the wind more time to alter carry and curvature, turning small strike differences into larger misses. A slightly lower, more stable flight can produce tighter dispersion and more reliable yardages, even with less maximum carry. Test every contender into, across, and down the wind. Include knockdown options, then check whether your gaps remain usable, rather than judging the best single shot. Subscribe for more Australia-specific equipment guidance. Wind is only part of the equation. Heat, dry ground, humidity, and seasonal turf can also change what performs best. Australia's climate label is useless without a postcode, season, and course type. Tropical humidity can soften turf and reduce rollout. Temperate coastal courses may stay receptive, while dry inland layouts produce firmer lies, lower wedge launch, and far more bounce after landing. Cooler southern winters centers can change both grass response and preferred ball feel. Rainfall, irrigation, heat, and grass species all affect carry, spin, and club interaction. Before accepting American climate advice, describe the conditions you actually play: firm or soft fairways, grainy or tight lies, and typical temperature. Even a small translation error matters. A wedge bounce recommended for lush turf can dig or skip unpredictably from hard Australian ground. Distance advice has its own translation trap. 1 yard is about 0.914 meters, so a golfer claiming a 7-iron carry of 150 yards is describing roughly 137 meters, not 150 meters. Convert both carry and total distance because rollout can disguise a poor comparison. Before using an American Club review, fitting chart, or gapping recommendation, check whether the launch monitor displays yards or meters. On Australian courses, think in meters when the markers and rangefinder use meters. Build decisions in the local unit and avoid translating during the swing. Localization matters again when American bargain advice depends on timing. American reviewers may call a premium driver unbeatable because they tested it during a holiday promotion, retailer price war, trade-in bonus, or clearance cycle. Those discounts may reach Australia later at a smaller reduction or never arrive. Before importing, calculate the complete Australian cost: shipping, taxes, currency conversion, fitting, return postage, and any weaker warranty support. Compare that figure with local stock, including professional fitting and easier returns. Judge performance per Australian dollar rather than discount percentage. A previous generation model from an Australian retailer can deliver nearly identical results for much less. Even a genuine bargain becomes expensive when the club demands skills you do not have. The final trap is treating tour equipment as universal advice. Low spin driver heads, compact irons, aggressive sole grinds, heavy shafts, and specialist wedge setups solve problems created by elite speed and repeatable contact. For most golfers, they can shrink the effective hitting area, punish shallow or inconsistent delivery, and make late-round swings harder. Hit the player in front of you. Speed, strike pattern, launch, common miss, physical comfort, and the firm or soft conditions they actually play in Australia. That is the thread connecting every tip in this video. Identify the hidden American assumption, test it under local conditions, and keep it only when the results improve your score. Thanks for watching. Before buying or booking a fitting, check local price, availability, turf, wind, climate, units, and ability. American advice works when you translate its assumptions. Subscribe and comment with the tip you will reassess.